Good morning all, JP Living the Dream back with you once again. Thanks all for stopping by. I'm sorry I didn't do a video last week. I've treated myself to a nice weekend away. Don't get them very often really, but I went away. I was away from Thursday to Tuesday, so I didn't really have the time. I have got some footage to edit from a recent job, but I didn't have time to do it, so I thought I'd just pop on today and just have a chat to you all really. And my YouTube channel is obviously gaining some momentum now, so thank you to all of you who tune in and watch and subscribe and like the vids, and my other socials now as well. I've started I've obviously got Instagram and a Facebook page as well, but I get lots of questions, guys, which is absolutely fantastic. I wouldn't have it any other way, and I always try and answer every single one of you who leaves a comment or a question on any of my videos on here. And what I tend to get questions about is the running of a gardening business side of things, and it's usually from those of you out there that are really considering taking the plunge and starting your own little business. You might be working for a landscaping company at the minute, or a gardening business, and you're thinking, you know, I'd like to have a go at this on my own and keep most of the money that we earn for myself, which is why most of us did it in the first place. But you might be somebody who's had an office job for years and you want to get outside a bit more, or you might have been working in a factory or in any other line of work that you might just feel a bit stale and bored in, so you decided to venture out into something new. Now, I have done videos before to explain it's not as easy as we might think, buying a lawn mower and bits and some gardening tools and thinking we can just jump out there and immediately start work and earn as much money as you need to pay your bills really and live your life, which is the sole reason really any of us go to work, especially in this country. We have to. There's no other way of doing it. So a lot of the questions I get, and one in particular on my Instagram page, I've had a young man contact me and said to me, so your business is obviously garden maintenance. That's the title of your business name. What is garden maintenance? Do you just do lawn mowing? Do you do strimming and mowing? Do you do weeding? What else do you do? And I got involved in a little bit of a chat with him and tried to give him a little bit of help. And I said to him that garden maintenance it can be anything that you do in your garden to keep it healthy, to keep it looking well, and so because of that, I would say that not only do you have strimming, grass cutting, lawn care, weeding and feeding your lawn is important. That yes, border work is all part of garden maintenance. If you like to keep a nice weed-free flower bed and border, then I also do. I install railway sleeper borders, raised beds, planting boxes. I supply and install them for people. You do fencing, fence repairs, shed repairs. There's so much that you can do. I mean, one day I can be digging off like a driveway area, and then laying some stone, compacting it, and they want decorative chippings, or stuff like that. It's just anything really that you can do outside. Trimming trees, back hedges. You've got to be careful without not in the nesting seasons, of course, but yeah, anything that you can do really. So I told him all this, and he come back and he said, well, what about painting? Painting people's fences, and how would you go about pricing it? And that's something I do a lot of in the course of a year. I mean, in my time I've painted miles and miles of fences for people by hand or with a sprayer. And he said, well, how would you go about pricing painting people's fences? And I said, you've got to break it down. Don't be doing it on an hourly rate. I always advise against that, because you watch then that you could turn up to somebody's house one day when the weather's nice, and you know, you're feeling good, you've got plenty of energy that particular day, and you might get, I don't know, depending on what you're doing, say it's just a solid wooden fence and you're only doing it one side, you might get 15 panels done, 2 coats, 3 coats, whatever. Another day you could come up, you're not really feeling it, you're aching a little bit, so you decide to go a bit slower. If you're on an hourly rate, the customer's going to notice that you haven't done so much the following day. So you price the job, you give them a quote to do the job, in my opinion, guys. Some of you may disagree with that. If you do, leave me a comment and let me know why. But over all the many years I've been doing it, I've always found that you price those sort of jobs. So when you price your first fence painting job, you're going to need to know whether you're supplying the paint for the customer, whether you've got to buy your own brushes, sprayer. If you have, you've got to factor that in somewhere, guys. I mean, the sprayer, you've got to buy a sprayer. I've got a battery sprayer, rechargeable battery sprayer, I should say, which works really well as long as you keep it clean. But you know, I think it was 150 quid when I bought it. I didn't charge the customer that I was working for at the time that. I split that over the next few painting jobs, the cost of that. But you know, if you've got to say for example, the customer said, right, I've got 18 fence panels here, so concrete post, gravel board, and 18 fence panels. Now, I've spoke to the neighbour, they want their side doing exactly the same, but I'm going to do it for them, seeing as I'm getting you here. So righto, so straight away, you know, right, okay, so am I supplying the paint? Yes, I've chosen a paint colour, I'm going for the Cuprinol Harvest Brown. Okay, fair enough, not a problem. I want you to get the paint at JP, I want you to supply everything to do the job, and I want to come home and the job has been done, and I don't want to have to do anything myself. Okay, that is absolutely fine. So I then go to my local merchant, and you know, obviously I've got a trade card, so with most of them, and an account. So I do get a slight reduction on stuff, but for argument's sake, let's say that 5 litres of Cuprinol paint might cost you £18. Are you going to put anything on top of that? Well, I'm certainly not going to do it at cost of what I paid for it, because you know, I've got to go to the store, I've got to get it, I've got to deliver it to the job, you know, so you've got to factor something in for that, guys. That isn't free, is it? You know, very rare you do get you get an offer like that, somebody to supply it at cost and deliver it for free, and then you've got to do the job after that. So for me, what I will do with the paint is the cost that I pay, I'll put a £5 a tin on that for the hassle of going to fetch it and delivering it to site. So you buy your paint, and I put a little markup on it like that. Now, do I need brushes? Well, if the customer hasn't got any sort of fence painting brushes, I'm going to have to buy them. You can normally get a fence and shed painting brush for about 8 quid. So you know, that'll be a tenner on the job as well. You're not making mega money on your materials when you go and do the job. And well, like we said, 18 panels, you've got to lift the panel out. I take trellises with me, so I put them on one side, either spray or paint them, and then I get the next one out, spray or paint the first side, then I flip the first panel back over, then I do the second side. So that first panel has had 1 coat at this moment, and you've got to do at least 2 coats, guys, sometimes 3. So it's took me probably the first half an hour to do the first panel with 1 coat, and the second with 1 coat both sides, and the second panel just on the one side. Then you repeat the process, take the third panel out while the first side's drying, paint that panel, drop back to the second, flip it over to another. So when you've got to the 18th panel, you've then got to drop back and give everything a second coat both sides. So you repeat the process. Now, if that job's going to take me 8 hours to give 2 or 3 coats, then I'm thinking there what my day rate is then. So I'm going to be saying to that customer, right, I want £250 plus the materials to do that job. Now, I'm getting myself there £250 for my labour for doing that job. They're getting 2 to 3 coats of their chosen paint and on their fences, and by the time they come home from work that night, all of those fence panels will be dry and slotted back in for them with no mess, no mither. I forgot to say, you might need ground sheets or dust sheets to stop the paint from the, you know, flicking anywhere or whatever. But depending on where the fences are situated, the last thing they want is to come and you've got brown paint all over their nice Indian stone slabbed area or whatever. So factor in some ground sheets as well, guys. But yeah, that is how I go about pricing a nice little job. Let's be fair, painting fences is easy work. It's not backbreaking. It's different from what I normally do. A lot of the work I do is strenuous on the body, and you'll all know that, guys, fellow gardeners and landscapers. But yeah, you got a nice couple of sunny days, and you got a nice fencing job to do, fence painting job to do. It's a cushy number, guys. And so what I do is I don't sting the customers on if I'm supplying the paint. Might put a few pounds on for going to fetch the paint for them, and obviously I get a reduction on it anyway. But I make the money just on my day rate, and yeah, that's how I do it, guys. So and I know that this young man is watching my channel, so you'll know who it was who asked me that question. So thank you very much for asking it. I think it's something that other people might want me to have clarified as well. So yeah, I hope that's answered it for people. You might do things differently in your business. You might price things differently. I'm one of these who I like to get on. I like to get as much done in a day as I can, and I always know what I need to earn a day. So I price my jobs that way, as I've said before. But you know, I do actually enjoy painting fences, because one of the reasons being is if the fences haven't been painted for a few seasons, but the panels are in good order, when the customer goes to work and leaves you there, their fences are looking tired, you know, faded, and they're not looking great. You can literally in a few hours make that garden perimeter look amazing again with some good painting, and when they come back, they'll still have the image of how their fence was in their mind. They'll get out the car, they'll come straight to the garden where you are, and they'll just be, wow, that's a transformation. So then they're very, very obliged, or happy, shall we say, a lot of them, to hand over the moolah, guys, the money. So yeah, there's it's a very, very quick way of transforming somebody's garden. And absolutely yes, to answer the question, I do consider fence painting, obviously, like we all do, as part of garden maintenance. So if you've got flyers, and business cards, or even sign writing on your van, add it onto your your list of services that you offer. Why not, guys? It's something we can all do. It's not hard to pick up a paintbrush. It's not hard to get a sprayer and spray the panels. So add it to your list, and it's another service you can offer, guys. So I will leave you with that for today. And speaking of painting fences, I've got a job coming up this week, actually, which I'm going to be painting fences. I'm going to be doing a bit of lawn care. I've got a patio area to clean off and whatnot. So I will be filming the footage for that, and that video will be my next video out, possibly. So I will love you and leave you all, guys. Thanks once again for tuning in, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care, guys. Ta-da.